What is up, YouTube? Today I'm coming back at you with another video, and today's video is going to be a tabletop RPG video. Now, this one is going to be covering some recommendations that I have for all-in-one fantasy tabletop RPGs. Now, what does that mean? It means that these RPG recommendations that I have here are all one core book. So everything you need to play for years and years to play and run the game is all in one book. Now, I really enjoy tabletop RPGs that are all in one because it doesn't, normally they're a great price point, so it's a great value. But not only that, you don't need to buy extra books if you don't want to, and you can play for years out of a single book, which for some of these I have played for quite some time, and have gotten a lot of sessions only in one core book. Now, these aren't going to be in any particular order. And these are going to be all ones that I own and recommend, and that they're going to be all in current print in some form or another. So they may not all be necessarily like the newest edition, but you should be able to get all of these books in print in one way or another. So let's start off in just a random order here. And let's start off with Fantasy Age 2nd Edition. So, Fantasy Age, if you've been subscribed to my channel for any length of time, you do know that I really enjoy Fantasy Age. And I've done reviews of most, I think all of the original 1st edition books. Now, I haven't actually taken any time to review Fantasy Age 2nd edition, but I get most of you could probably guess that I did get 2nd edition. I really enjoy Fantasy Age. 2nd edition, not really a whole lot has changed. They've added some things, they've left some things behind, and they made balancing tweaks. But all in all, Fantasy Age 2nd edition is a more complete all-in-one book than the original 1st edition. The 1st edition had some things in the companion that you needed, and it needed a bestiary badly because it only had like 10 creatures in it. This is more of an all-in-one book that I would say is all you need to play. So Fantasy Age, what is Fantasy Age? So Fantasy Age is a sort of your generic, traditional fantasy game that uses a 3d6 mechanic where one of the d6 is a different color. If you roll doubles in your 3d6, whatever number is on your stunt die, which is the odd colored die, generates stunt points. Those stunt points can be used in combat or role-play encounters to do extra special abilities, such as doing extra damage, increasing your defense for the next turn, knocking people prone, knocking people back. So it's kind of how they do their critical attacks. And it's a pretty straightforward and fluid system. Spells are a mana point based system, so if you want to cast a spell, you have a certain amount of mana points. You can spend those mana points on any number of spells in the list that you know, and cast those spells as long as you have the points for it. There's a decent bestiary in here as well, which is a big improvement from 1st edition. Let me get to the bestiary. You've got pretty much all of the stuff that you could possibly want to run a game. You have NPCs like crime bosses, bandits, assassins, warriors and stuff, dwarf captains. You have animals like dogs and crocodiles and stuff like that. And then you have your traditional, more fantasy creatures like demons and dragons. You've got zombies and ghouls, giants, everything you could need to run a long-standing campaign. All the essentials are in this book. So you have a nice conglomerate of creatures in here. And you also get, which is a really nice plus to this book, is a full campaign setting in the back. Let me see if I can pull it up to that page. Yeah, so you have a full campaign setting in the back called Breakwater Bay. In addition to the full campaign setting that has a small gazetteer detailing the regions here, you also get a full adventure, a full starting adventure as well. So it's a very complete book. One other thing about combat is the armor actually absorbs damage. So one of these stunts that's very popular in this game is called Pierce, which helps you pierce through some of the armor rating, which is very nice since armor absorbs damage in this. And then you also have a secondary defensive stat that is your dodge stat, sort of like the AC number in D&D. Really cool game. Highly recommend it. I've played a bunch of this game, and it's really everything you need in one book. And it's a solid system. It's very straightforward. The way it's laid out is very easy to learn. It's got quite a bit of customization, so it's sort of like a medium crunch game, and I'd recommend this one for sure. Obviously, I recommend all of the games that I'm going to show you today. Alright, the next one I'm going to show you is a little bit lesser known, but it is called HARP, which is High Adventure Role Playing. Now this one's by Iron Crown Enterprises, which some people have probably heard of them from their success in Rolemaster. This is a sort of similar system to Rolemaster, but it's a lot more approachable, a lot easier to get into, so it's one I recommend a lot more. In addition, it's an all-in-one core book, so this is all you need, and this has a breadth of material that you can just play with. It's got a ton of stuff in here. So, HARP is a D100 based system, and it is a roll high system. So it's a D100 roll high. You've got all your standard fantasy races with a couple extras in here that you don't see, like the Grix are a race in here that you won't see in other places. That's more of a just for HARP race. And each race has its own benefits. Not like Fantasy Age where it has a benefits table. Each person playing that race will all get the same benefits. And then there is a... this is primarily a skill-based system, so there's a bunch of different skills that are all under your different attributes. So you've got your artistic category, your athletic, combat, concentration, general, and basically all of your different categories here. And inside of them you have a number of different skills from acting, dancing, mimicry, play instruments, singing, storytelling, acrobatics, climbing, contortions, brawling, armor, and then you're also, so one thing about this is your combat skills, your combat is done in skills the same way as all outside of combat stuff is done. So you have a skill for your armor, you have a skill for your weapons, and so on and so forth. And let's see. You've got a bunch of different spells here. So your spells are also done through through skills, where you basically put points into each one of these spells, and each class. And here's your different spellcasting classes up here, has their own list of spells that they can learn, in addition to universal spells that anybody can learn. So anybody can learn magic in this game, but specific magic casting classes get additional spells that they can cast as well. Spells are a spell point based system, or power points is what they call them in here. In addition, it's pretty much just a, you pick a spell, you put points into it for your skill, and that's how you learn it. But in addition, they also have a special feature where you can amplify your spells. So like right here, you can see scaling options. You can put more power points into it when you cast it to increase the falling distance, and so on. Or you can increase the radius or increase duration. And it's basically just enhancing your spells, which is really nice. Combat works in a pretty straightforward manner. It's your attack minus their defensive skill, and whatever remaining number is there is you reference a chart from that. So let's see if I can't find the charts here. So combat. So once you have that remaining number, you just reference this right here. So say you get like 50 over their armor, then it'll tell you how much damage you do. So you do 12 damage. So it's pretty straightforward resolution mechanic. And there's a different chart for each type of weapon, and each weapon has its own modifiers. So it's pretty straightforward, really cool game. There's a ton, oh, I forgot to mention the bestiary. There's a ton of monsters in here to pick from. Let's see if I can't find the monsters real quick. There's a big section on herbs and poisons as well. Okay, here we are in the monsters, but you have let's see, there's a big chart in the front. So this is sort of the simplified stat blocks all in this chart here over to this page for this whole chart here. So you have quite a number of different creatures, everything from goblins to dragons and worms, everything that you need in one book. Really solid system, highly recommend it. Next one we're going to be taking a look at is D6 Fantasy. This one is a super cool, I rarely hear it talked about nowadays, but it's an older system. It is available in print on demand, but this one is obviously it's a D6 system, but if you ever played the Star Wars, original Star Wars RPG, this is that system, but for fantasy, which is really cool. So this is a dice pool system where it's all skill-based, and the better you are at something, the more dice you roll. And essentially, you just roll big fistfuls of dice, and there's two ways to do health in this. There's a wound system or a actual health point system, and the GM is able to pick between those. Spells are pretty straightforward in this. It's a mana point based system as well. This one's a little bit more traditional in terms of its spells. There's no amplification. It's just you have your spells, you have your cost for the spells, and you can just cast them as needed, and then you roll whatever number you need to actually hit. One really nice thing about this RPG in particular is every aspect of this has sort of a worksheet like this in order to design elements to the game, and it gives you all the tools you need to add additional spells, add additional templates, which are sort of their classes. You don't need to use classes. You can just have a free-form point-buy system to give how many points in each skill. Each point in a skill equals a D6. So the more points you have, the more dice you get. But there's tools to make your own templates, which are like pre-filled out sort of characters that they fill in the finishing touches for, and you can sort of like make like a mage template or a bard template or whatever. But there's also a spell design sheet. Now there's not a whole bunch of creatures in this book. There are some, but it does give you all the where is it? All of the tools to design your own creatures. So here is your monster worksheet here, and you do get a few monsters in here as well. So you have your goblins, your kobolds, orcs, and giants, dragons, animals, and then you have like soldiers and stuff like that. So you get a decent spread here. Pretty much the bare bones in terms of a monster spread. But because it includes this worksheet and the rules to create your own monsters, it makes it a super easy way to add your own additional creatures. And the system itself, it makes it extremely adaptable to adding new creatures and whatnot. In the back here you have your templates. So like here's some templates. Like you have a gladiator, a healer, and so on and so forth. And essentially the templates are, you assign a stat array of skills, and they get an additional amount of dice that they can add into the finishing touches. So all the categories are all predetermined. So you get 4 dice in physique for this, and then you can add some extra dice into your specific skills like lifting, running, swimming, and stuff like that. There is, in the back here, I believe, there is a short adventure in the back somewhere. Or maybe I'm mistaken. I may be mistaken. I don't think there's an adventure in this one, but it's a really simple system where you're just rolling handfuls of D6s. Armor is essentially just a static number, sort of like D&D, and there's a lot of different optional rules in here for resolving things slightly differently. Like, for instance, the health, or how you learn spells, or and then you also have advantages and disadvantages, which are sort of like perks and disadvantages, obviously. But yeah, so really cool game. Highly recommend it, especially if you like rolling big fistfuls of dice. It's a really great one to take a look at. And there's a high amount of customization in here. But yeah, definitely recommend D6 Fantasy. And that one's also available in print on demand. This next one is probably the most intimidating one that I have here, and that is Zweihander, which is fun because I speak some German, so it literally just means two-hander, which is the name of a Renaissance-era sword. Which this is a more Renaissance-focused fantasy game. It's a very hardcore game, though. So, very deadly, very dark. It's definitely geared a lot more towards a dark fantasy, where most of these other ones so far have been sort of a high fantasy. But there is a lot of content in here. So there is over 600 pages of material in this book. This is a D100 based system, but unlike Harp, this is a roll under D100. So you're trying to roll under your skills. One notable thing about this is your character creation in this is completely random. So if you were playing with people that like, you know, planning out a build and, you know, I want my elf to do this and that and this, not exactly the way that it's done in Zweihander. So for Zweihander, you basically, pretty much just pick your ancestry, or you can roll your ancestry as well, so it can be completely random. Normally I would say basically pick your ancestry, and that's the only thing you really get to pick, is basically the way it goes. And then from there, you get ancestral traits that is rolled randomly, and then you also go to your archetypes. And archetypes have a number of professions underneath them. So it's sort of like how Fantasy Age has it set up, where you have an overall archetype, and then there's a more fine-tuned profession within that. And there's a ton of these professions. You've got a big table of professions for each one of these archetypes. Everything from like a servant or a peasant up to like a smuggler or a vigilante. A lot of different professions to have here, and it's all rolled up randomly, and it's definitely, like I said, geared more towards a darker fantasy. For instance, you can end up being a cultist, and then you also have a dooming, which is sort of like a prophecy for your character of what their end will be. And even the season of your birth is rolled up randomly for just an idea of how random your characters can be. You have distinguishing marks like a bald patch or but big ears and stuff like that, rolled up randomly, of course. Complexion is rolled up randomly. How heavy you are. Your height is rolled up randomly. So pretty much complete random character creation, which I think is fun every once in a while. You obviously need the right kind of group to play this game, and it is a very unique style of game. Now, I don't know if it'd be one that I would pick as my only game I ever play, but it's definitely fun to throw in there in the mix every now and then. I definitely think it's geared to long-term campaigns. But I don't know if this would be the only game I would play for the rest of my life. But it is got a lot of content in here. So you've got all of your professions, tons of professions. Magic is deadly in this, and it can have consequences such as corruption, which is really, really cool. So there's a corruption mechanic in this game. In addition, there is a super huge bestiary. If I can find the bestiary here. Nice art piece here. Let's see. Traps. Madness rules. There is a bestiary. Okay, here we are. So here's the bestiary. It's a huge, huge bestiary. A lot of creatures. They're all separated into different categories. Like you have abyssal, We've got a bunch of abyssal creatures, a lot of artwork in here that gives you a great feel for the setting. And as you can see from the artwork, it's definitely more, you know, dark creatures that are sort of slightly horror-oriented. Like, I really like that guy here, the Numina, I believe. It's a hired demon. Lots of different creatures. Way more than enough to run for multiple year campaigns. There's tons of stuff in here. In addition, in the very back, there is an adventure. We get past all the monsters here. Where's the adventure? A Bitter Harvest, right here. So, A Bitter Harvest is the starting adventure for first level characters, and it's a full-fledged adventure. It's not a small adventure. It takes up probably about, you know, 30 pages or so. So it's a solid starting adventure, a couple sessions worth in there. But everything you need in this one 600-page monster of a book is right there. Really great value. Definitely recommend that one, especially if you're into darker campaigns and whatnot. And the last one's probably going to be the most popular. And the one I have the most experience with is the Dungeons & Dragons Rule Cyclopedia. So if you want to play Dungeons & Dragons, but you don't have a lot of money and you want everything to be in one book, this is the game. This one right here. Now I know it's not, you know, 5th edition or whatever, but I can tell you right now, this single book has enough. It has everything you need. Because I actually, just this weekend, finished up a 3-year campaign using the Rules Cyclopedia, which was, you know, meeting every other week. So we had well over 50 sessions worth, each of those sessions being about 4 hours, maybe a little bit longer, depending. And so there's a lot of gameplay time. And I have played enough in this book to have used every single subsystem, pretty much. Everything from the naval combat rules, there's mass combat rules, there's stronghold building rules, there's stronghold sieging rules. I've used all of those in this single campaign. We hit everything in here. So I've seen and played every rule in here. It's very well made. Probably, in my opinion, the best version of D&D in existence is this book. It's got everything you need for characters levels 1 to 36. It's, you know, your standard D&D fare, where you're rolling a d20, trying to hit or beat an armor class. It does use a descending armor class, THAC0. If you're familiar with THAC0, it uses that. Super easy to get a hold of. Basically, the easiest way that I've told people how to think about THAC0 is, think of it as the armor class is the bonus to your roll. So if a monster has an armor class of 2, which is good, your roll will get a +2. Simple as that. And then you're just trying to meet or beat the THAC0 number on your character sheet with that bonus. Easy peasy. I don't understand why people have such a hard time with THAC0. It's really just, instead of the DM keeping the armor class a secret, you just tell them the armor class and they add that to their, or subtract that to their roll. Super easy. Super easy. Anyway, this has all the way up to 9th level spells, which is super cool. A lot of different spells in here. It does have mass combat rules. It has stronghold and castle building rules. It's got naval combat rules. All things that I will go into in a future long-term review. Optional wrestling rules, which are a little bit janky. I'm not a huge fan of the wrestling rules in this. But what wrestling rules are good, honestly. Have yet to see a really great wrestling system. And then there is, you know, the War Machine, which this is basically a war game in here. These War Machine rules are quite complex. Basically spend a whole session just doing mass combat. And then, you know, you've got, not only that, you have a full bestiary in here. Let's go to the bestiary. And it's got all the classics. You have your beholders, you've got dragons of different kinds, and you have some unique dragons, let me get, that I like to talk about, that you don't see in other versions of D&D. Well, why am I going this way? There we go. So you have, you know, your standard spread, white, blue, black, red, and so on and so forth, but you also get your crystal, onyx, jade, sapphire, ruby dragons. But in addition to that, you also get the sort of the dragon rulers, which are like your big bad dragons, including the pearl, the diamond, the opal, and the great one. The great one is essentially the god of the dragons, and he is, you know, armor class -12. He's extra planar, so he'll be moving in between planes. He's got 40 hit dice, which is absolutely insane. For those of you who've never played old school D&D, 40 hit dice is 40d8 hit points. It's an insane amount of hit points. He's worth 68,000 XP by himself. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, it's got all the monsters you need to play for at least 3 years, because I know. So I have an extra monster manual that was an expansion onto this book. I never ended up opening it once. Everything I needed was in this book for 3 years. And I don't think we really fought the same monster too many times. We hit a lot of different monsters throughout that time. So, tons of cool stuff. The system's also super, you know, easy to mold. A lot of really easy to homebrew. I put a lot of homebrew monsters in there as well. Rules for potions. And in addition to that, you have a full setting in the back, which is the D&D game world called the Known World. And it has maps of the different areas. Full map of... Now, the map is sort of split up. Here's the full world. And then you also have the Hollow World, which is a world inside of the Known World. And here's some more information, a small gazetteer. So you've got a whole game of D&D, everything you need to play for years in one book. I highly recommend it. It's probably my favorite version of D&D, and I just finished a 3-year campaign in it. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's do a quick look at all the, if I can get as many of them as possible in frame here. So here is sort of an overview of all of the single book RPGs that I recommend, and I think they all have their merits and are all worth it in their own way. Definitely recommend checking out these games. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. If you have any additional recommendations, leave them in the comment box below. I'm always happy to check out more RPG stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thank you.